Welcome to the Heartwork Podcast, where we delve into stories, struggles, and triumphs of entrepreneurship, leadership, and personal growth. I'm Dr. Sara.
And I'm Dr. Marisa. We're here to guide practitioners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and those just navigating the complexities of life on a journey of discovery that explores the dance between passion and strategy, heart and hustle.
With candid conversations, insightful interviews, and plenty of laughs, get ready to uncover how leading with heart can transform your business and life. Let's dive in. Welcome back, y'all. We're so excited to chat with you again. And I wanted to start this combo because I have been navigating just this rhythm around what it looks like to have something that you thought was very real in your life be flipped on its mother effing head and not know how to navigate it. And when looking at like what that is like what growth and success look like in my life. And I feel like there's been this journey that I've gone on my whole career when it's come to entrepreneurship that's been measured around what other individuals have done, what other individuals say work really well, and what you then measure success to be around. And it very much has always been this like, okay, well, you grow to a certain number, then you go to the next thing, you add more volume, you add more revenue, you add more team, you add more businesses, you add, it's just like this constant conglomeration of like building and growing and leveling up your level of success, which then will allow you to level up as yourself at the same time. And I have gone through a season over the past like 10 years of just owning my own business, of really understanding what it looks like to start putting my own story, putting my own flair in that, because I also do find it very valuable to see and be around people that have done things that you have not done, right? Like there is a reality of like, why recreate the wheel if somebody has done something really beautifully and it aligns with you, to be able to then allow that to facilitate movement within your company. And like you and I were literally talking yesterday, I'm like so freaking grateful for the foundation of mentorship and coaching that has allowed our businesses to be the way that they are. That I don't question our systems. I don't question what we've done. Can they be refined? 100%. But there has been a foundation that has been built within my business that has allowed us to get to where we are. And then there also comes this point of time where this past year, I really started asking the question of like, well, what is it that I want for my business? And when I started asking a lot of that question, it really more became the place where I was starting to ask the question for facilitation of what my heart wanted versus what I felt like I needed to produce based off of what the norm is within our industry and what the norm is for a trajectory of growth. And it then became the question for me of like, well, what does growth look like? And what does growth mean? Because growth means that you're constantly going deeper, you're constantly going farther, you're constantly adding more, you're constantly getting wider, whatever. It's always about moving somewhere in a direction, which inherently I don't think is bad. But I think what happened for me is I started asking this question of like, it was such an outside in perspective, I think, that really gave me this place where I was like, well, what does that actually look like internally? And when you start to ask what you want, when it becomes something different than what you know, it can become very like dismantling a little bit. I felt very like, well, I don't know. All I know is this. Literally, all I know is this over here. I don't know what it's like to actually ask my heart what it means to be in alignment with it and what it is that it wants. I know my heart in this season of time has really desired a lot of rest, a lot of trust, a lot of grounded steadiness, and just making decisions from that space. And I feel like I'm also being really invited into a season of creativity and a lot of play and a lot of fun, which is so bizarre because I don't really feel like I'm a very creative human. I know I've had to be a creative human to just create what I've created within my business, but I'm not like an artist type individual. But I feel like God has really been asking me to really dance in that space a little bit. But I'm like, well, how the hell does that go in alignment with growing a business? Like how does that go in response with growing a successful business? When you look at metrics, when you look at stats, when you look at like revenue streams and increasing revenue and all that type of stuff. And so it has been a very it feels lopsided. It feels like I'm building a really teeny tiny muscle that I don't know how to move, to be honest. And I don't like it's so crazy to talk about because it feels like it's like internally, it feels so foreign. Y'all might be listening to this and be like, she's crazy. I don't even know what she's talking about. But internally, it feels so foreign because all I've known is this one place. And I was talking to my coach yesterday about it a little bit. And we were just talking about like at the end of the day, there can be balance. For me personally, like I know I'm a very like driven human being. I know that I'm going to work hard. That part of me is not going to stop. Like there's a place and a purpose for that. I'm still going to like have movement, have rhythm and have desires in my life. And how can I also open space up for my heart to speak more for the space of like what it is that is actually driving the energy, driving the intention, driving the actual like growth. If I put quotes around that, the growth aspect of your life. And for so long, growth has been about the facilitation of metrics, numbers, and movement. And I feel like God has really been asking me like growth can be an internal thing. And then the metrics, the revenue, the dollars, all of that is the fruit of what you're doing internally, the work that you then do. But that's the fruit of the outcome that you don't have to control and that you don't have to rush after and try to grab. That can be something that is just the evidence of the life that you're living. And that is the strangest part for me sometimes where it's just like, well, okay, but cool. I have a plan of like having a 1.2 million, $1.5 million practice this year. How do I make that happen? Like that's like the point of like, if you want those types of movement, you got to do backtrack and have a type of a plan versus I think the gap for me is like, okay, I desire that. And then also when you let your heart actually flow and let the creativity side happen, I think that's the invitation for me is to know like, well, God's going to be able to do the rest of it. And I don't need to like formulate how to do that. I can let myself navigate it and let growth be something that is just coming from the like bubbling up outside of me and out of me versus me trying to navigate how to actually do that. I feel like now I'm just rambling because I'm like, now it's just kind of like rolling a little bit, but that has been this like journey. I feel like it's literally a foreign muscle that is wrecking me a little bit and also gets me so excited because I know in my soul this is what this year is meant to look like for me. And we'll see. Maybe come in the fall of 26, it'll look very different. But right now in this season, this is where I'm at. And it's exciting to see the a feeling of lopsided and feeling like there's no rhythm or there's no balance around it, but also besides just showing up and getting excited about your life at the same time. So, and also showing up and doing my mother effing work and doing really good job at it and getting excited about it and love what you do and like literally give yourself in the moment because that's all you have at the same time.
I think I mean, I walked these conversations with you so much over this last, I feel like 3 to 6 months the most
Yeah.
in a way. Um, and I think this is what we can learn so much from also like other cultures in the sense of like the American dream, like hustle culture mentality that we have here in the US compared to more of the romanticizing of your life, like living to work compared to working to live. And I think as entrepreneurs, when we start out and the world is open to us, there are some entrepreneurs that lead with their creativity. There are other entrepreneurs that lead with the doing and the frameworks and then let the creativity fall by the wayside, or we showcase creativity in small ways, like with brand, colors, aesthetic, compared to really having it shoot out through the frameworks of our business. And so I know for you and I specifically, we had a really beautiful, again, just coaching opportunities that allowed us to create frameworks for our business, which allowed us to be really profitable and successful and serve a lot of people like right from the get go, which is awesome. And then you get into the rhythms of natural entrepreneurship that are going to happen to every single one of us. And so those beginning frameworks, while really vital, don't always continue to be the same frameworks that you use as you scale and grow, and also as you as individual scales and
Mhm.
grows and have desires for your life and for what you want from your business. And I think there comes a time where if we start with frameworks and we start so much with the doing, that there is that yin and yang part of ourselves that really craves for the romantic aspect of just being present in the business and not always having to have we've done so much conversation around this recently with goals versus objectives, but not always having to have smart goals all the freaking time. Like it doesn't always have to be specific, measurable, attainable with a time limit and what's the R? Relatable, reliable, I don't know. I don't even know,
Oh,
right?
but
Like, but like, why can't it just be a dream? And then, yeah, you just like kind of not wash your hands of it, but you just kind of say, I'm open to all the different ways that this can become the reality based off of what I desire. Sometimes, in order to even have the capacity to like tap into and understand what that creative heart inside of us is literally doing nothing.
mhm.
Like sometimes it's about not making a decision and giving yourself the space and time to allow the path to actually unfold itself. Doesn't mean that we sit back and literally don't do anything for our business, but we don't necessarily need to make the decision of the next ladder ring to continue to grow the climb. I mean, even when you're going to climb a mountain, like there are stations that you take a moment of pause to regroup, to
Mm.
recalibrate, to figure out, are we going up the same way that we want to go up? Do we need to new equipment? Do we need new people and resources? Like, what does this actually look like for us to get to that climb and to get to the top? And sometimes we go sideways a little bit before we climb up. Sometimes we have to go down a little bit, go sideways, and then find a new path up. And when we're so locked into focusing on outcomes versus allowing a possibility to be present and allowing the journey to get to that possibility to reveal itself, um, we end up disconnecting from that like beautiful, again, just inner. I think it really does come down to like our inner kid and just like having fun again with it. Like dreaming isn't just about just like throwing it out there and thinking about what we desire for our life, but like having fun with the process. Because I don't know about y'all, but like when I get too stuck in the doing, I'm like, this is boring. Like, I'm ready for a little spice me up, like, I need a little dream, I need a little romanticism, like, I need a little spark with it again. It's the same thing that we can see with any of our lives, our relationships, like, we're not always on cloud 9 all the time, and sometimes we're in the practicality of things, and it's okay to inject a little mysticism back into it all.
I mean, you're literally Italian. You're like one of like your culture is literally one of the most like romantic cultures out there.
Yes.
Like I wanna literally come to like Italy with you. So it's like, yeah,
There's
I
a
mean,
saying,
and
like, dolce fa niente, like, the sweetness of nothing.
mhm,
There's stillness, there's slowness, you sit to eat a
mhm.
meal, you sip your drink, you just be. I mean, there's Ferragosto, like, nobody works in August. They go, they be with their families, they be with each other, like, so many of our also mentors have shared too, like, especially even just, Stephanie, the wealthy practitioners, like, a lot of those times of discovering what can come next comes from the pause, comes from the
Yeah.
moment of stepping out and away from all of the things to see it.
I feel like that's been this, again, past season. It really has been a season of a lot of quiet and a lot of stillness. I think for both you and I,
Yeah.
really. And it's kind of wild, like, too, when you think about your life and you look back on it, it really is a journey where you get to like see transformation move.
Mm,
And then also at the same time, not really sure what's changed, but you know something's changed. And I think for those that are even like in it sometimes, I'm gonna give you permission to like not always have an answer for what change is gonna look like. And sometimes it can just be over the course of a rhythm of time. You know how like I used to hate this with my mother, like used to say this to me, it just takes time for you to like your like broken heart to feel better or for you to like get to this certain thing. I used to hate that thing, but I hate that sentiment because it was just like, but I want to know, like, but it really is a like, I look back on what these past 6 months have looked like, and, like, I feel like a completely different human internally, and I really couldn't necessarily tell you there was one thing that did the shift, right? Like, it was multiple different things over the course of this past season that have really lent to me this to be able to see something from a perspective that feels a lot healthier, feels a lot more in alignment with me, feels a lot more in rhythm with where I'm going and where I'm leading my business is and where this is taking me into the future.
Mhm.
And kind of crazy to like watch that and also to give yourself permission to not always have the answer at the same time. And I think that itself is evidence of growth, like that itself is evidence of movement and rhythm to life when you actually you look back and see that, man, I'm not the same person. And how I'm showing up is also a much healthier human than what I was even just a couple months ago. And then in turn, like, I can't even tell you, like, the way and I have told you, but told our, like, listeners this, that literally over the past quarter, we have had more momentum in our business than I've had in almost these past fucking 3 years, and it's, like, crazy. Like, to be able to see that type of movement is, like, evidence of, like, what then can happen and the fruit side of it.
Mhm.
But that's the fruit. That's not me trying to wrangle and strangle the productivity aspect of what a
Right.
business can produce. So, yeah, it's just been really, really beautiful. And I truly have it deep in my core. I know that this year, 2026, for us, for my business, for the people that I'm surrounded around, it's literally going to be probably one of the best years that we've ever experienced. And doesn't mean life won't be hard, doesn't mean there won't be things that will take us sideways or make us feel funky or have some loss or some grief along the way because that's part of life. And at the same time, there can be so much beauty and so much rhythm and so much just ease along the way with it. So that is what I have been experiencing, and I think we're both experiencing and excited for what it looks like as we move forward.
Here's calling in the romantic side of entrepreneurship. Cheers, everyone. Salute.
So, thank you for joining us on another episode of the Heartwork Podcast. We hope today's conversation has inspired you to lead with heart in your business and life.
If you enjoyed this, subscribe so you never miss a release, rate our show, leave us a review, get on our VIP email list, and join our exclusive Facebook group, The Heartwork Life, to plug into our community and learn from us and other heart-led entrepreneurs on a weekly basis.
We look forward to chatting with you next time.
Bye!